Alright, so you're wondering whether you should start with high-ticket dropshipping or low-ticket dropshipping or some other form of dropshipping. I want to talk to you about the differences and the reasons why I do high-ticket dropshipping and the reasons why I recommend it, but also sort of some of the reasons why you need to be careful before you just jump into it, because you need to have a few things before you get started. So my name is Trevor Fenner with eCommerce Paradise. We build stores and we run them, we manage them, and we scale them for clients. So if you're looking to get a store built for you, we can do that. And if you already have a store and you want to get it managed and outsourced and scaled up for you, we can do that as well. You can get more information at eCommerceParadise.com. And so if you're just kind of looking into drop shipping and starting a business model that's location independent, that's a retail business, not like something where you have to create and sell info products and stuff like that. The high ticket model works really well, and I'll tell you why. And it's because, as opposed to the low ticket model, the high ticket model mostly focuses on getting authorized dealer agreements with brands that have already been around for a long time. And the key there is that since you're going to be working with brands specifically and have an authorized dealer agreement, you're going to be able to get warranty support from them. So if something goes wrong with the product, like if it's shipped and it's damaged, or something just doesn't work with it, the brand themselves is going to take care of the customer. They're going to replace the product or fix it or whatever it is. They have a warranty, terms of service, and the customer, when they buy the product from you, will get access to that brand's warranty terms of service because you're an authorized dealer. So it's a contract you fill out with every supplier that you get with. The other awesome thing is that you'll be able to utilize all the efforts that brand has already put into building their brand over time. They've done a bunch of advertising and marketing, and so much work to get their brand name known and recognized in the world. And so I think it's one of the best ways to get into dropshipping, because you see, with low ticket, usually you're selling generic products, so there's no branding involved, so there's no trust built with the customer. They see the product on your website, they could just find that product anywhere, right? Because it's a generic product. Now, if you take a generic product and you brand it, and then you put it on your website, like a print on demand, or maybe a private label operation, that's a whole different thing. You're building a brand, that's awesome, but it takes a lot of work up front, okay? It's a whole other business model. But low ticket dropshipping is mostly focused on sourcing products from a supplier online like AliExpress, where you're dropshipping it from China, where the costs are way lower, selling it on your own website, and running just like basic Facebook ads or Instagram ads to get traffic, okay? That's the base business model. But you just got to remember that you are the one liable for anything that goes wrong with those products. There is no warranty support from AliExpress, okay? So that's why people always sell products that are like 20, 30 bucks each or whatever. Because if something goes wrong, they just refund the order. The customer will keep the product. But because their margins are so high, they're usually marking it up, at least a 50% margin, maybe 100% margin. So that margin, that initial margin, will cover you for all those ones that go wrong. So even if you have like 10 or 20% orders where the product arrives and is damaged or doesn't work well and people file complaints, you can just refund those and you're still going to make plenty of money, right? So that's how that business model works. But with high ticket dropshipping, it's not like that. You want to have all of your products fulfilled to work properly. And if there is a problem, you have direct support from the supplier, and you can tell your customer to go to the supplier to get manufacturer warranty support. You'll encounter that anywhere you buy expensive products, online or in store. They're always going to tell you to fill out the little warranty card with the brand that you bought it with. Like if you're at Best Buy, you're going to buy something electronic, you're going to buy it from Sony, you got to fill out the warranty registration form with Sony. Okay, it's the same kind of thing we do with high ticket. So you're selling expensive products, there's a warranty process, but the customer has to register it with the supplier, okay? And on top of that, when you're going to do marketing, advertising, all that stuff, as an authorized dealer, you have access to all that brand's assets. Usually, you can bid on the brand keywords, the product keywords, like the SKU numbers and model names, and you can bid on that paid advertising. You can get way better chance of getting sales. The other cool thing is that you're going to be able to rank organically for that brand's products, and build a really good relationship with them that way. And that's going to make it so much easier for you to build your business to scale in the long run. And if you have a great relationship, it's unlikely that they're ever going to cut you out or want to cut you out. Because, see, as a drop shipper, as the entrepreneur with the retail business, you provide the supplier, the brand, with a huge service, and that is taking risk off of their plate because you are processing the payments. See, when they process payments, their risk is that the customer can file a chargeback with them whenever they want and then get their money back, and there's huge cash flow issues. But you're taking that risk off their plate. But by doing that, you have to be really careful, and you have to do the work to properly do customer support and to help customers and to make sure you do like all sorts of notifications and things like that so the customer knows that they're getting a product, and that if there's something wrong with it, that they need to contact you first, not their bank. Okay, so you got to do the work to make sure the customer, acts properly. But just remember that, like, you're taking risk off their plate. That means you're taking on risk. So you need to be prepared. High-ticket dropshipping, you need to have your finances in order. You need to have money ready ahead of time before you start doing this stuff. You need to take the time before you start this business to build up a savings. You need to have enough business credit available. I would say at least $5,000 to $10,000, because most niches are somewhere around average order value of like $1,000, sometimes up to $1,500, sometimes more. And if you don't have at least 5 to 10 times that much in business credit available, you're not going to be able to process orders in a timely manner. And customers expect fast shipping, and that's one of the selling points that we have on our websites that we built, is that it's fast shipping. It ships within 1 to 2 business days. In order to do that, the supplier has to charge your credit card. They can't, if you're going to wait for the payment processor, which, processes the payment, to drop the money into your checking account, that could take days. And in the beginning, there's payment processor holds all the time. It's a pretty common occurrence. So you have to just be prepared. Shopify payments, PayPal, they all do it now, where the first, maybe 5 or 10 payments you get are going to be held for like a month or until you fulfill the order. So they want to make sure that you are a proper business person. You're not a scammer. You're not just taking payments and then not fulfilling orders, and then, because if you're doing that, if you're a bad actor, then they're going to ban you. They don't want you to use their systems. You're at risk. You're a flight risk. So, yeah, you have to have some money up front. And later on down the road, even when you are processing orders, there's going to be cash flow issues. Customers will file chargebacks for all sorts of random reasons. And if it's not for a good reason, it's called friendly fraud, you can win chargebacks. You can get, your money back, but it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. Chargebacks sometimes take up to 60 to 90 days to resolve. Okay, it depends on the bank. And sometimes even when you have all your ducks in order and you got your shipping information, your proof of delivery, and the product was delivered, and all that stuff, the customer can still win the chargeback. So, there's losses that can be incurred in this business model, and you have to be willing to accept that fact that can happen, and be willing to do the business anyways, because that's just how retailers operate. They have to write off losses from returns and from disputes and things like that. They have to have processes in place to manage that kind of stuff, to deal with it. That's pretty much it, guys. So just keep this in mind before you consider starting this business model, is that you've got to have some credit built up. I recommend that you're a bit older, because that's really what it requires to have credit, is some age and experience. I also recommend that you highly consider doing the branded approach to dropshipping, not going with generic products, because as much as you might think it works, it doesn't work that well, and it's very difficult to sell generic products online. You've got to have a brand name. You've got to have some sort of trust built in. Customers really want to see a brand. Even if it's the most random brand name, customers will usually judge a product because if there's a brand or not associated with it. Okay. Print on demand is a great way to do branding if you can find a product, but a lot of the times unique products don't have print on demand capabilities. You have to order minimum order quantities, okay? And they have to be printed ahead of time and shipped from China in crates or in containers and warehouse somewhere. But the thing about this model, this high ticket model, is you're working with the brands. They have the warehouses. They store the products at their warehouses, and they ship from them too. So you don't have to do any of that work. That's why I absolutely love this business model, is that you're working with these suppliers that are really well-known brands in their industry, and they do all the storing, they do all the warehousing, the shipping, the fulfillment, they take care of all that overhead. You're just taking the risk off their plate of the payment processing and customer support. They'll give you warranty support and all that too. You can bid on their brand keywords, bid on their product keywords, and all that stuff. They're willing to give you all that stuff, because if you're a trustworthy business person, you're taking risk off their plate, and you do a good job at managing your business, you're gonna make their life a lot easier. Okay, so. But you have to be willing to do that work. It's not like a set it and forget it thing. But the catalogs tend to last longer, and that's one of the best things, is that the products don't change, season by season. But there are changes. Like you're going to have to be willing to update your catalog sometimes. You're going to have to willing to update your prices, your inventory, especially when best-selling products go out of stock. People are going to be looking around. If you don't update your website, you're going to keep selling out-of-stock products and get a lot of back orders. And all of a sudden, you're going to have a bunch of cash in your account thinking you're rich. But you're not. Those are all back orders. Okay, so don't just go out and spend a bunch of money because you're taking back orders. It's the easiest way to go out of business really fast. You've got to hold on to that money and set it aside and do good accounting and bookkeeping and know how much money you actually have. Don't just go and spend a bunch of money on growing your business because you're taking a bunch of back orders. All of a sudden you see a bunch of cash in your account. All right, it's the worst thing you can do. You got to be willing to grind out your business, do the work yourself for a while, until you have some profits to show. And it's always a good idea to separate finances, of course. Use cash back and points reward credit cards. It's one of the best ways to make an additional 1 to 2%, maybe up to 3 or 4%, on any of these orders, or all of your ad spend, any of the software expenses, paying your VAs, all that stuff. Because points can be redeemed with travel partners for like 5 to 10x value, as they could be used for cash. So yeah, and then you can travel in luxury. You can practically live at 5-star resorts, or take business class long haul flights. You can live this like rich, luxurious lifestyle just because you're processing everything through the credit cards. But it comes with some risk, and that is, if you don't manage your finances well, you can go into debt because you didn't manage your finances well. If you start spending a bunch of money on personal expenses and then you don't have the profits to show for it, or maybe you take a bunch of back orders and you spend a bunch of money on growth and personal expenses, and then those back orders get canceled. Well, now where's the money, right? You got to pay those customers back because they got canceled, because maybe the lead time got pushed out longer. Like, it was expected in 1 month, but nope, sorry, now it's not going to show up for 2 months. Or something like, Trump tariffs happen, where Trump puts on like 50% tariffs. All of a sudden, all the products that are arriving are going to cost double, and the customer's got to pay, $1,000 more for the same product, and they cancel because of that. Anyway, there's tons of things that can go wrong in this business model. Once you've been doing it long enough, you'll run into all sorts of stuff. But one of the coolest things about a high-ticket store is that it is a saleable asset. In the end, well, at some point, past about a year, you're able to sell your store for around 2 to 3x the annual profit. So, you got to do the math and do the bookkeeping and all that. But if you can average out between the past like 3 to 6, maybe up to 9 months, your profit is like $3,000-$4,000 a month or something like that, or even if it's just 1,000 or 2,000, take that, multiply it by 12, and then multiply that by like 2 or 3. Come up with a range which your website could potentially sell at. And there's a lot of reasons why it sells for less or could sell for more. But yeah, that's kind of one of the best things. So if you just spend a year or 2, maybe 3, building one of these businesses, getting it to a certain level, and then passing it off to an investor who likes to buy stores that are a certain level already and then scale them up, that's a great business model. And even if something goes wrong and it doesn't do very well, you're still able to sell it. You can still offload assets that didn't perform, as well as you'd hoped. You're not going to get a whole lot of money for it, but at least you can still sell it. Platforms like Flippa.com are great for that sort of thing. For really well-established businesses that you want to sell for more, something like Empire Flippers would probably be better. But yeah, so that's all these reasons why I really love this business model. I continue to teach it. I continue to help clients with it. Eventually down the road, I'll probably start doing it again myself. And probably branch out too. I want to do some private label products and do my own brands and stuff like that. I think that's one of the best ways to build a brand, because then you're not dealing with suppliers making or breaking your business. You're dealing more with your own ability to control your business. You buy your product from the manufacturer and store it and all that. You make better margins. You own a brand, you can sell it for like 3 to 5x multiple instead of just 2 to 3x. So there's a higher multiple there as well. For example, I have this content business I'm planning with my wife, Trevor and Whitty, where we're going to talk about marriage. And it's going to be a podcast, YouTube channel, blog, among other things, and we're going to create content. But one of the great things about being married and being a couple is that there's all sorts of cool stuff that you can, buy to enhance your relationship, right? And enhance your life. And a lot of those things, if you go on Amazon, just type like products for couples or gifts for couples, they're all there, like all these great little like private label product ideas. So we're going to have a Shopify store and we're going to create private label products. And they're usually pretty small products like games and, things like that. And, we're going to brand them and then list them and sell them, and pretty much just use organic traffic to sell them. Maybe list them on Amazon eventually too, but who knows? But that's what I'm talking about, is just creating a private label brand and all that. You're doing all the work that the supplier does, and then you're going to end up finding these people that want to dropship your product on their website, and they're going to email you, hey, can you give us a dealer discount so we can dropship? Are you accepting new dealers? And you can say yes or no. It's just how it goes, okay? That's the world. This is how supply chains work. Hope this video is helpful, guys. And if you're interested in high-ticket dropshipping, definitely drop me a comment. Send me an email, trevor@eCommerceParadise.com. You can call me direct at 206-504-6099. You can go check out our done-for-you service at eCommerceParadise.com/turnkey. It's a turnkey business-in-a-box store build and launch service. And on the back end, we're offering a management and scaling service now, a full service management and scaling package. So we do everything for you. So instead of having to pay, $1,000 or $1,500 to someone to do SEO, and like a separate $500,000 to someone to do your ads, and then hire a VA for like $700, you can pay us $2,000 a month, and we'll do all of that for you. I'll hire, train, and manage a VA to run your business, to do your phones, calls, your emails, your live chat, all that. I'll have my team update your inventory and pricing on your catalogs, and continually recruit new suppliers and onboard new suppliers for you. We'll be creating content, doing social media marketing for you, and I'll be managing your ads and giving you kind of a co-CEO, CFO, CMO support system through coaching and direct, coaching and all that. So yeah, I think it's a wonderful deal. It works for me at scale. I have a big team of VAs I've trained out really well. And I think it's a wonderful deal for you guys because, for the cost of maybe 3 virtual assistants, you're getting access to like 5 or 6, plus a guy who's been in this for like 15, 20 years, who knows what he's doing and can guide everybody. And it's just an awesome deal. You just don't find that anywhere else. Nobody else is willing to do that work, or even can, because they just don't have the experience that I do. And even if they did, they probably, like I said, just aren't willing to do it. It takes a lot of work. And most people that are in high-ticket dropshipping and teach it, they don't want to do all the work. They just want to teach and then go off and live their life. And I don't blame them. That's kind of the dream. But at the end of the day, businesses need to be managed and run by somebody. And the person that has the most experience is usually going to get the best results. Okay, so I've had tons of clients get awesome results and continue to do so. I have clients on my phone, their Shopify stores, and I get cha-chings all day long now in different stores, and it's kind of fun. Used to be my own stores, but now it's client stores, and I love it just as much because I know they're paying me, and I'm helping them, and they're good friends, so I'm happy with it. And I'd like to help you as well if you're interested, so hit me up, and I'll see you in the next one.